First pick of this draft will be the Kaisa here for Cloud9. Not surprised to see this S-tier AD carry going over as first pick in the draft to enable Zven to put them carry pants on.
And I like that this plays with Cloud9's mentality. They are always a team that likes to push tempo, dive in a lot of team fights, try and force a lot of fights. Kaisa right now is the epitome of that. As far as AD carries goes, her only small weakness is the short range for later, but that doesn't matter if you build a dive comp. You know, with the addition of Gale Force, 2 Killer Instinct, plenty of options there for big kills for Zven. Answers from TSM already the Jhin, extremely popular, but Spica's Nidalee locked in very early, and they're gonna need some hard CC with their solo laners for this. We have seen a couple of successful uses of Nidalee without that sort of setup, but it is far more rare.
Yeah, Nidalee feels like she falls into the same camp there with Talia. Very, very powerful AP jungler that really wants to just take her allies out to a nice fancy dinner to say thank you whenever they have that point-and-click CC to set them up and make sure they can hit them skill shots to get the ganks done. But over on the other side, Cloud9 say, all right, you want to talk about point-and-click CC? Let's get Perkz here on the Twisted Fate in the mid lane that can set everything up, really get all the side lanes going. And Blaber on the Hecarim, Kobe. This is the kind of champion you can take over the Rift with.
We said dive, Flowers, and what is more dive for a jungler than Hecarim? Blaber is going to be set up for success here because they've locked in the Twisted Fate for Perkz. I love high priority on Twisted Fate that teams have been showing. It just so greatly accentuates the strengths of powerful junglers right now. Meanwhile, there's a lot of champions on TSM side that look very juicy for getting picked off, and zero of that setup that we were talking about for Nidalee. Yes, Lucian is a good pairing as far as AD threat and AP threat, but that lane is pretty hard to create action off of, so you're going to need SwordArt with the playmaking support here. He has to be on Alistar, on Leona, on Maokai. That one's banned out. Good job by Cloud9, as that's what SwordArt used to hit rank 1 in the LCS ladder, or in the North American solo queue ladder. There are definitely plenty of other options though. Rel as well, super popular as far as that big AoE setup.
Shen, Maokai, what else is it going to be? TSM, last ban is skipped. Okay, sometimes you got to be testing your mechanics not just in the game, but in the lobby as well. TSM missing that 5th ban. We'll see if that comes back to bite him here. Cloud9 onto the last ban of the draft. What is it going to be? They know that their opponents still need a support. They know that they still need a solo laner.
I'm going to guess Alistar ban.
Makes sense.
Unless they've got some sort of crazy plan going on here, I'm going to guess for Alistar. Thresh is a savior ban, you know, because it's more versatile than Alistar with the lantern. So I can definitely see it here, but it does mean TSM get their choice, pick of the litter here for SwordArt.
Well, TSM, what's it going to be here for 4th pick? Do they want to show both solo lanes, or do they want... Nope.
Okay,
all right, we're going to go for the Gragas here. Flex pick. I love it.
All right, keep it flexible here. Keep them guessing. You can easily rotate this if Huni doesn't feel comfortable. But honestly, I'd say slap that Gragas in the top lane right now. That's the type of champion.
Gnar.
Exactly. That's the type.
That's like 20 points right there. It's not Gnar.
I want to see Huni on this style. Gragas provides great AoE push for the top side. Your Q in lane is so good, especially versus melee matchups. Fudge has to pick a generalist top laner. Aatrox right now fits that to a T. You can play a decent amount of range with working with your Qs quite well. Has a lot of healing in the kit. Doesn't have any super terrible matchups. So, and they have to respect the flex. So no surprise here from the Cloud9 side.
Last pick for Cloud9 will be the Nautilus. So that's at least a traditional tank there for the front line. So far, both Hecarim and Aatrox are drain tanks. So they've just got a classic meatball there with those guys here to front line for the Kaisa and the Twisted Fate. All right, TSM, let's see how this one's going to shape up. Do you take the Gragas into the top side, up there against that Aatrox? Do you want to play Gragas mid and put Lucian top? Do you want to completely switch everything up and not listen to anything I'm saying? Oh, we got the Galio picked up here as the final pick of this draft for TSM. Kobe, how are we feeling about this?
So Galio, I have really liked when there's been this super high priority, you know, the meta is emerging of almost all the supports have been hard engage melee champions for bot side. Galio can defend against that really well because he can peel super well in lane since your taunt is AoE, plus you have the Justice Punch. And then you have the extra global for trying to deal with Twisted Fate a little bit later. It can help out some with the map pressure, but already from Champ Select, I would say pressure advantage to Cloud9. TSM, it does look like it is going to be more difficult as far as getting to the mid stage of the game, where they then can try and retake control. But they do have a couple powerful lanes to try and work off of. Excited to see PowerOfEvil on the Lucian, as he is very well known for control mages, and I want to see him play aggressive.
Now, you're talking about some advantages here for Cloud9, also some powerful lanes for TSM. And I like the fact that the coaching conversation for both these teams was also a talking point coming in to this season here in 2021. Cloud9 now finally not having Reaper as a head coach after so long. TSM, Bjergsen finally moving on from being a player to now being a coach. Which one of these two coaches, Mr. Kobe, I'm going to put you in the hot seat right now. Which one of these two coaches just won the draft?
I would give the edge over to the Cloud9 side. I would rather be playing these champions at the moment.
Okay.
I do think that this draft is definitely more difficult for TSM to pull off, but doable.
Now, specifically, the top lane matchup of the Aatrox versus the Gragas. I'm going to be keeping my eyes on this one. You pointed it out at the very beginning of Champion Select, saying that that top lane could be volatile. Both of these guys have been underperforming so far in the first week and a half of the lock-in tournament here. Yeah. How's this lane going to play out up here?
Honestly, it's easier to farm for both sides, so they don't have to go for a hard engage. It's all about jungler setup for the top side, because either of them can set up at a whim. I would prefer to be on the Gragas side of the matchup, because Body Slam is so easy to utilize, whether you have your jungler or you're trying to escape from them. That's why Gragas has really risen very highly in priority. Aatrox, though, as we mentioned, does go Gore Drinker, does get super great sustain, and you can play it safer utilizing your Qs and stuff like that.
Speaking about sustain as well, Huni going Grasp here on the Gragas in the top lane. Sometimes you will see Phase Rush to allow him to trade aggressively and then walk away before his opponent can respawn, but Huni wants the extra sustain and burst trading power of that Grasp. Everything else here looking pretty standard as Vulcan and Zven waste no time in bottom lane. Immediately getting some damage down onto SwordArt. As Lost tries to retreat here, Zven getting one more dose of the Acathian Rain just to make sure they back away. Kobe, I love seeing bottom lane duos play aggressively from level 1. As soon as you get into the lane, targeting the enemy champions instead of the minions when you know you can win it, it's just fantastic. Yeah, well, you must be happy in this meta then, with everybody taking these engaged melee supports all over the place. Important thing for the top lane is that Gragas, a lot of the power for laning comes from your Q. It does a lot of damage for pushing the wave, and in these melee matchups, you can oftentimes get some harassment or try and zone the Aatrox as well. Huni so far had some pretty good trades off camera, but the biggest difference, as I mentioned before, is the difference in jungle starts. It is a top side start for Blaber, so he's clearing towards bottom on the Hecarim, so Fudge knows he's on a timer here, whereas Spica with the blue start clearing towards the top side means that Huni has the possibility of those body slam flash engages to try and set it up. That can turn into a Nidalee spear guarantee as well if they time the positioning correctly. And you can see Huni's not hesitating to trade aggressively right now, knowing that he has Spica up on this top side of the map. Fudge has had to kind of dial it back a little bit with Blaber going for bottom grab. And Blaber down there in that bottom half of the map. Of course, once he gets the crab, there won't be anything else to go for as his opponents are already underneath the turret. Vulcan going in here for a lot of damage onto SwordArt. Takes over half his health bar on that one. But he's not low enough that Blaber would be able to swoop in from the side and go for some sort of a turret dive. So it's time for the horse to go home as Spica will walk into that side brush there in mid lane. Just see if he needs to hang around, but he won't. He'll go ahead and get back as well. So both of these junglers going through that first clear identically, just ending up on opposite sides of the map. Hecarim picking up that nice early sheen. Of course, the item only costing 700 compared to the previous 1050 makes junglers that buy it early on just feel great about being able to go back after one full clear and hit that price point. Spica working towards his items as well. as we've got about a 10 CS lead for PowerOfEvil in mid lane over Perkz right now. But Blaber's coming in, Vulcan joining up. PowerOfEvil continuing to run away, trying to save the flash here. Dodges out of the way of the dredge line, but more damage is coming in, and first blood over to Blaber and Cloud9.
If you're going to live that for PoE, you flash as soon as you see a Hecarim and a Nautilus in your lane. You would have to do it so early so that Blaber doesn't get to charge you back. He's able to, to walk right past PowerOfEvil. PowerOfEvil is trying to hold his summoners here. You can tell he's thinking, hey, I can sidestep, I can dodge enough, but there are crowd control options on all three of those champions. So if you see all three of them in your lane, at least for me, I'm busting my flash as soon as all three of those in lane.
You're getting the hell out of town.
PowerOfEvil opts to try and outplay it, but you can't outplay. Perkz has the flash still. Flash stuns it. Follow up for Twisted Fate. So yes, Cloud9 do use a bunch of summoners there, but that is super worth it. First blood, they take down that aggressive mid lane power point that we were talking about from Champ Select. Spica wants to answer on top side though.
But it will be a 2 versus 2. Fudge continuing to push forward as Blaber joins up in the fight here. Huni getting knocked up into the air with Fudge's Q2. But let's see if TSM can turn this one back around. Huni goes in for the body slam. Spear connects. Blaber is down. The man is cougar food as Spica returns the favor, ties this game up 1-1, and it's TSM winning the top side 2v2.
Yeah, I think they definitely needed that. Spica's able to get one back. The Nidalee getting some money to try and combat a Hecarim early first blood is essential for them, especially since the kill that TSM suffered was in the mid lane. Lucian without summoners, no cleanse in a Twisted Fate Hecarim opponent matchup here is very scary, and that takes a lot of the point of picking Lucian out of the champion. Because you're trying to play your lane aggressively early on. You're trying to push this Twisted Fate back, at least gain control of the minion wave so Twisted Fate doesn't get free reign over the map. But because of C9's successful early play,
we got a couple of different plays breaking out here, Mr. Kobe. We got Spica running away as Blaber chases after him. A little bit more damage will get it done, but he can't quite find it. The clutch heal keeps Spica alive. PowerOfEvil maybe looking for an opportunity to do something on the back end of this fight. Culling comes out, taking away most of the HP from Vulcan. Perkz now getting hit with the piercing light. Heal being used to get him away as Spica throws out another spear, but a good sidestep there from Cloud9 puts it between the uprights. C9 disengages. They were so close to getting the kill on the enemy Nidalee, but now with such low health bars, they all have to back away. And with Spica back to full HP, this is a Drake attempt from TSM.
Huge answer here for TSM. Honestly, this is why teams were so excited and fans alike to watch this matchup. Because of the damage that PowerOfEvil is able to deal while they're chasing down Spica, 2 versus 3, TSM gain the health advantage, earn themselves an objective without securing themselves a kill. That's pretty big though, starting that dragon stacking 7 minutes into the game. Definitely a nice rebound here for them.
And as the camera's down here in bottom lane, I do want to shine a quick spotlight on the farm advantage that Zven and Vulcan have been able to build up for themselves. Lost and SwordArt have brought it back from a very dire spot where it was over 20, now back down to still about 15 though. So 2.5 waves of farm, the advantage for Zven and Vulcan down here in this bottom lane. You can see the experience on your screen right about now. Solo laners all hitting level 7. You've got Zven at level 6. Lost still only level 5 down there on the Jhin. So he and SwordArt both having to wait until those ultis are ready to go, as Perkz will be handed second blue of the game. And we'll see if this Twisted Fate can... oh, wait, hold on. Blaber's got to unleash this thing around. I hate it when that happens, man. You're trying to pass the thing off to the guy. He doesn't do enough damage. You got to play Ring Around the Rosie with the buff for an hour to give it over to him.
I got things to do. Man. Oh, look at this rotation. SwordArt's coming up. Even though the Galio not level 6, he's walked his way all the way to the Rift Herald. We'll get there a couple seconds before the reset from Cloud9. Blaber's sticking on it though, so this is probably going to be a 5-on-5 here. Lost is now level 6 on Jhin, so can open up with the Jhin ulti.
Let me take a deep breath. Here we go. TSM coming in, a little bit of damage flying out. SwordArt with the initiation, only onto Vulcan. Shelly down to 64 HP. It's going to be stolen away by TSM as the curtain call opens up and the bullets are flying in. Right here in the middle of the fight, it's Vulcan already dying. SwordArt getting himself away. Fudge in hot pursuit. Huni stuck in the back line, going to be killed off in a 1v4. 1-for-1 trade here overall, but the big thing is TSM stole it, and the bigger thing is nobody can move in and pick up the eyeball. TSM stole a check for 100 gold, and that's it. The eyeball disappears into the ether, and that was one of the weirdest Rift Herald fights you're ever going to see.
Oh, Flowers, you know, checks expire after 180 days, and it looks like on Summoner's Rift that translates into about 30 seconds as the egg expires here. No Rift Herald picked up, even though you get kill credit, which is nice. A little plus 25 there. Let's take another look at the setup. As we mentioned, Lost was going to be the last one here, but he's Jhin, so he could open up his Jhin ultimate, provide the W across the map as well. Charge in from Cloud9, and they section off this team fight. So even though TSM get a nice burst there, taking down Vulcan, and they get the first kill, because Fudge dives into the back line, Aatrox zoning off those 3, they do trade kills back and forth, and that is really even on that 5-on-5 on the top side, because, you know, one team actually killing the Herald, but the other team retaining control, so no Herald picked up, and it's just the kills traded.
Yeah, that was quite a wild Rift Herald fight, but hey, we still got ourselves a very close game, my friend. Only about, what is that, 600, 700 gold apart between the teams here. Cloud9 does have an advantage because they have those farm leads in the bottom lane, particularly like I was talking about, but also a slight lead up there in that top lane, but that's pretty equalized by the advantage that PowerOfEvil has in the mid lane. And I do want to talk about PowerOfEvil having an advantage here in the mid lane, because one thing I feel like we've been seeing from Perkz here in the lock-in tournament so far, he's just been quietly building these lane kingdoms where he has a massive farm advantage over his opponents. His score lines haven't been anything to make a highlight reel or a headline about. It's not like, oh my god, this is the greatest player of all time. He's doing good in his laning. He's having solid stats. His KDAs aren't the hard carry 1v9 Chad mid laner. And this game, he's falling behind his opponent in terms of farm, just because of the nature of the matchup, having to deal with a Lucian in a solo lane. So I am curious to see how much Perkz can affect this map as we move forward from this point, as we get closer to the mid game.
Honestly, I think Perkz and Cloud9 in general should actually have their eyes on... Ooh, he should have his eyes on his lane right now, because he's 90% of his health. But you should also be looking towards bottom lane for a kill. On SwordArt, not the one you would expect going for Lost. SwordArt in the Rift Herald fight, both summoners used. So Galio support actually pretty squishy. Definitely early on is a viable target. He's rushed into the steel caps here, so a little bit more defense for him, but you know, no mobility to speak of besides Justice Punch. And that's what Cloud9 can try and use their map mobility. They've got this Twisted Fate plus Kaisa combination to go for long range picks. SwordArt's actually taking the initiative though, and I love that. Going off to your reset straight down mid lane to help PoE push in for the extra plate conversion for TSM. And that syncing up with Huni getting one as well brings this gold right back to almost even in preparation for the dragon fight.
All right, let's see TSM. What do you guys got here? I like the fact that Chad supports SwordArt, just roamed himself over to mid lane, as you were talking about, wanted to see Perkz go bottom. SwordArt came mid, just decided to deliver the package straight to the source.
Go to the source of the global.
Yeah, buddy. All right, TSM, what are you guys doing here? Taunt coming through, TP going down. You got Vulcan in a bad spot, and SwordArt's grabbing the first kill of the fight. Blaber going in, but the man's exhausted. Spirit of Dread's about to run out, which means the Drain tank ain't going to be tanking much more. Beautiful ulti coming in there from Huni, separating Zven and Blaber from the rest of the team, but Zven's able to use that killer instinct to reposition himself well. Still a 1-for-0 here for TSM, as they end up in a good spot to take this Drake and bring themselves up to a 2-0 Drake lead.
We came to a brawl fest here, Flowers. Every single objective is met with 10 players. And we start this one out with a support stare down that actually just means which support has the backup a little bit closer. And guess what? It was TSM with SwordArt. So he wins the stare down. He wins the game of chicken there. Vulcan instantly annihilated. Melee range of the Galio, like we kind of talked about in Champ Select. One of the reasons I like Galio emerging in all of these melee-heavy setups here is just that. He's able to just get the taunt onto Vulcan. They 100% to 0 this Nautilus. So then Cloud9 lose one of their biggest points of initiation. This Nautilus was picked for the ultimate to start out on a target for Blaber, but SwordArt just walks right up, and TSM are here first. So they get the kill, and Blaber, you can tell, he still wants to go for it. He's thinking, oh my, it's so frustrating here, but they're outnumbered now. They don't have the Nautilus point and click, so they have to just go into evasive maneuvers. As you mentioned, it was a good ult there by Huni, but doesn't ultimately mean much because Zven was able to get the plasma over onto Huni, which allowed him to ult over there for the escape, and turns out to just be Vulcan down, Dragon over to TSM. 2 Drakes now in the hands of TSM.
Well, TSM's feeling good about that fight down there. And I also want to point out, we only got to see the gold comparison for a moment before the replay started. But right before we went to that replay, Huni was the richest person on the map. He has been having a less than impressive performance so far in the lock-in tournament. But here in this game, on the Gragas, the man's got some money. Let's see if SwordArt gets punished here for going in a little bit too far forward. Onslaught of Shadows coming out. Goodbye, SwordArt. Cloud9 with the punish, tying the game up 3-3. And they'll take that free kill, but Fudge barely survives trying to get away here. TSM biting back a little bit. Curtain call opens up. Fudge gets himself outside of the range there with a good flash. Lost now in trouble as Blaber and Perkz are going in looking for something. Perkz with a flash away of his own. Blaber still going to be on the front line here. Cloud9 health bars depleting very, very quickly. And TSM managed to hold the line here in a 4v5, trying to make sure they do not give anything else away to Cloud9, and they're doing a damn good job of it. Huni goes over the wall. The body slam is there. Lost with the follow-up, and Lost is on the board, baby.
Yep, Fudge uses flash to get out of the Jhin ultimate earlier, and Huni's able to make him pay for it. So in the end, TSM actually get a kill back for themselves and turn it into an objective. Oh, I was so surprised by this call for Cloud9 to go that deep into TSM territory. Using Perkz' ultimate and Blaber actually going for that dive. But big props to TSM for actually waiting around and punishing Fudge for being flashless. PoE actually trading flashes as well. Now you have to keep track of these summoners because it's going to be a bloodbath out here. Both teams not backing down.
And we've got 2 minutes until that third Drake of the game spawns. TSM with a just the smallest of gold leads, but already having that 2-0 gold lead. Not gold lead, excuse me. Drake lead going into the first ocean Drake of an ocean. So yeah, 2 gold lead, incredible. Let's take another look at how the fight went down, and SwordArt went too far in on this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very dangerous job that both of these supports have taken up, and pretty much all the supports in the meta have taken up. SwordArt there looks for it. He didn't have the flash, and so Justice Punch whiff means he goes down. But this flash being blown actually ends up being so big. Lost and TSM are able to get out of Perkz' dive here, with that being a little bit risky. He's got the cleanse, and they do force Perkz to flash back out. So a little bit of an overstep, but it's on the reset that this ward here from TSM allows them to take advantage of Fudge. And you see Huni just waiting for him to take the close honey fruit just at the edge of the wall so that the edge of his body slam will get that knock up, and a really good patience pays off there for TSM. They were able to turn that into an objective, the first tower of the game going over to their hands. But honestly, gold still basically even, and we are 45 seconds away from another bloodfest here. If the beginning of this game is any indication, I don't expect them to step down. TSM currently have so much better vision over this river by the Dragon with their 3 control wards, and they have the pressure of teleport top on Huni.
25 seconds to go. Cloud9 is hanging out down here in this bottom side of the river. Perkz with a little bit of damage over the wall. Misses the follow-up wild card there. So PowerOfEvil almost back to full HP already thanks to the heal from Spica. Another heal from him should be able to enable that one. Spears being thrown over the wall just to try to do a little bit of chip damage onto these guys wherever and whenever possible. Cloud9 now the ones with control priority over this bottom side river. Spica and PowerOfEvil still hanging out. Shelly summoned up in the bottom lane just to create some sort of a distraction. Cloud9, they're walking straight forward into the brush. Here comes Blaber, but he's a little bit separated from the rest of the team. SwordArt already joining here with a heroic entrance. Vulcan's caught out again, and PowerOfEvil's the one grabbing the kill. SwordArt will continue to tank as Zven is chased out of the fight. Fudge is in a 1 versus 3. Perkz almost completely out of mana. TSM winning this one pretty decisively. And now they get to take control over the Drake pit. They get to take control over the river. They won the team fight, and TSM is looking better and better as this game goes forward.
Another fight, another frontline support, life lost, Flowers. Vulcan goes down again in this one, and it's actually just the back and forth of the hard engage on Cloud9's side, but counter engage drafted really well here from TSM. You see the effect of Galio ultimate and Gragas ultimate both finding purchase here for TSM. SwordArt is able to come in, put a stop to the initial change from Cloud9, where they try and make this bush play to get a pick, and after that, they chase down Nautilus. No escapes for Vulcan. Which is why, you know, Nautilus players always, you're either on a highlight reel or you're going to be on a big death count reel because you don't have any escapes to get back out afterwards. There goes SwordArt. They chase him back off. Blaber has to reset. Zven on the top side then just watching as the support dies. And Huni uses the Gragas ultimate to give a little mini knockback on Fudge and Zven. So while they're killing off Vulcan, they don't sustain any extra damage. And that's all it takes in these fights. Because the game has been so close, if you get that little window to get your kill on the enemy frontline support, then you take out so much of your opponent's playmaking and you're able to get the objective afterwards. That's 2 consecutive times now for TSM. One by mid, picking off Fudge to get an objective in the mid tower, and then one now down on bottom to set themselves up for Ocean Soul Point. Look at the time fly, Flowers.
Oh, man.
This time of the game has come so quickly here, only 20 minutes in, and TSM are feeling really good with Baron spawning, plus Ocean Soul on the horizon.
Gold graph on your screen right now telling us that the greatest advantage Cloud9 had this game was about 1,200 gold. TSM around almost 1,000 greater than that right now as Perkz gets a stun into PowerOfEvil. But once again, man, every time PowerOfEvil takes a little bit of damage from Perkz, Spica is right there to heal him up and make sure he is doing A-OK. This is not the Moonstone with Staff of Flowing Water Nidalee. This is the more aggressive damage-based one that goes for the Liandry's Torment instead, but the heals are still plenty enough to keep PowerOfEvil topped off here. Mid lane farm still very even between the two. Jungle's the same. Top lane's about 2 waves apart. Back in bottom lane, you're looking at 3.5 or so with Zven still maintaining that lead, but Zven still without any kills, trying to find a way to get himself on the board. Perkz escaping with the flash there as TSM try to collapse. Cloud9 looking for the chance to come back in now. It's SwordArt getting hit up by that ulti from the Nautilus. The boy is stuck in the wrong spot. Fudge just drawing everybody's attention off to the side here as Cloud9 continues to look and see if there's anything else to take. Fudge doesn't appear to be in any real danger. Spica throws out a spear but won't get much from it. Baron is up on the map, but does Cloud9 really want to force this? Blaber still has his ulti ready to go. Looks like C9 is going after the Baron. They are daring TSM to stop them. Huni has to walk all the way up here. There is no teleport available on the Gragas. Cloud9 staying on the Baron, but now backing away as Huni walks through the mid lane. They are not willing to commit to this and potentially risk tossing the entire game away.
Yeah, nobody in this game is going to back down from a dare, Flowers. Nobody's saying, oh, yeah, give me truth here. Yeah, take the weak way out. TSM immediately call Huni up, and there's no way Cloud9 can try and force that down in a 4v5 with the setup that they have here. I did want to point out Perkz' mechanics in the escape, but here he goes again.
Lost running away, the follow-up coming in from Blaber. Heroic entrance is going to land. Blaber stepping out of the way, and Lost is down. Zven grabbing that kill, looking to maybe grab another here onto SwordArt. Blaber gets away with 100 HP. The horse going right back in underneath the turret, ends up trading his life away for nothing. He expected he would not be able to get out. His escape route was blocked by the other members of TSM coming to collapse, so he decided he might as well try to take SwordArt with him, but that doesn't quite work out.
He's ending it on his terms. Blaber is actually a Viking. He's going straight to Valhalla.
To Valhalla.
I'm not running away through the jungle to get chased down by the rest of TSM. I'm going between 2 turrets, and I'm going to get some damage off. Oh, my goodness. Honestly, though, it's going to be a little bit far back, but Perkz' escape in the long lane led to this chain of events. And I wanted to point out his mechanics because it was very important how he did it. And the quick second there with the gold card timing into flash. You gold card so that it is in the air, and then it stuns SwordArt, stopping his taunt just as he pops the flash to get to the other side. So then Perkz and Cloud9 were able to turn it around. Not only do you escape by doing this, but you set up your counter engage. And that's always what you're looking for when you're in a side lane and your team plus your opponent team is chasing towards you. You're looking to utilize, your big cooldowns and your CC abilities, yes, to stay alive, but also to open up the opportunity for your team.
Another fight about to break out here as TSM have the deck stacked in their favor in these bottom lane fights. Already 3 Drakes compared to 0. If Cloud9's able to take it, congratulations, you get 1 single Ocean Drake. But if TSM gets it, one of the most powerful team-wide buffs in the entirety of League of Legends, and an Ocean Soul will find itself in their pocket. Perkz coming in behind these guys, looking to set up the play here. Perkz now might find himself in a bad spot as Lost is about to be killed, but he's going to be traded away 1-for-1 here with Perkz. Zven the one blowing him up as TSM still trying to fight their way out of this. Fudge flashing over the wall, staying alive. Vulcan continuing to take some damage. Spica lands the spear. TSM looking to find even more. Spica goes on a killing spree into the stasis now. Blaber's going to be doing the same. Taunt down onto Fudge, blowing him up, but the man's still alive somehow. Zven going on a killing spree, grabbing one onto SwordArt, still looking to outplay, find some sort of a way, find something to save the day. But the jump in from Spica is enough, and Huni's grabbing the kill. Give him a drink, Huni. Everybody on TSM's having a party in the river tonight, and they're taking the Ocean Soul.
Yep, Cloud9 make a successful dive, and they kill off Lost. Everybody going in. Twisted Fate ultimate, Blaber ultimate here with the Hecarim, plus Zven, Killer Instinct in. They utilize all of their resources to surgically remove the TSM carry, but guess what? They drafted a backup AD carry, Flowers. So even though Lost is dead here, you see him on screen, now you don't. It costs Perkz his life. Zven also has to flash out afterwards because they're in the middle of the TSM team. And PowerOfEvil is still here on Lucian, so running behind this beefy front line of Huni and SwordArt. Just so much zoning there. You can't get past the body slam and the AoE taunt from Galio here, so PowerOfEvil is easily able to kite. He does end up having to use his flash in exchange there, but it affords TSM the win in that fight. It affords them the Ocean Soul, and now it's an Ocean Soul Gragas. Huni shrugging off 4 members.
He ain't taking no damage. He ain't taking no damage. He's fine, man. Let's see how this goes now as Vulcan's already dead. TSM launching the attack as Perkz wants to get away, but the big man's got a big belly and Perkz is going home in a big old body bag. Cloud9 loses support and mid laner TSM with an Ocean Soul already ready to go. They're going towards the Baron now, a 3K gold lead, quickly going to shoot up to about almost 5K as soon as they collect the big purple worm. Everybody's alive. That means everybody gets to wear the buff, and this squad is looking clean today, Kobe.
And I don't want it to go under the radar that TSM's comp here is actually hard to pull off. They invested so heavily in counter-engage to try and deal with all of Cloud9's dive that them looking for engagement opportunities is more difficult. All they really have to go on are the skill shot based, more difficult initiations, of Gragas and Galio combined. And Huni has made very good use of his flash to make sure that he can get these setups, but he's also done well, with the ultimates just on a fly when it is a bit more risky. And being, the point person for the team, along with SwordArt there, after the way that the lock-in tournament started, with Huni by far being, the underperforming member of TSM, this is just a huge bounce back for him.
It is so... I am convinced at this point, Kobe, that every time Huni locked in Gnar, he meant to pick Gragas. They both start with a G. They're next to each other in the champion select thing in the lobby. This is night and day. His Gnar and his Gragas are not even on the same planet. They're not in the same solar system. This performance is like that old school Huni that people have missed. The man has been doing some amazing things here in this game, and TSM fans have got to be happy to see it. TP coming in onto the Nexus turret. TSM looking to maybe push all the way for the win here, protecting those cannon minions, letting them put those little plinks and plunks of damage into those Nexus turrets. TSM backing away now, not wanting to overstay. They've still got standing gold in the tier 2 turrets in both side lanes to pick up if they want it. SwordArt is saying, hey, get the hell over here. We're camping this brush. Somebody's going to walk out. Just blow him up. Huni's the bait. Stick it around, trying to convince him he's doing one of the derpier Huni plays, but in reality, it's just a 200 IQ bait trying to get him over there with everybody else. Lost bringing up the minion wave here in the bottom lane to take the tier 2 turret. Looks like nobody from Cloud9 is willing to stand and fight for this one. Why would they? They're pretty far down at this point in time. Now they got to try to defend this next tier 3. Life gets so much harder once you have to defend 2 lanes of super minions at once. C9 waiting on their jungler to get up here. Fudge is teleporting around behind, coming into the red side jungle. Vulcan here on the front line, likely going to be blowed up. You've got Blaber initiating into the middle of 3. They already found the shutdown onto PowerOfEvil. Looking to grab another one now onto Lost. SwordArt the next target, stuck in the middle of a 1v4. Zven coming around from behind, probably going to give the kill over to him. if they can. Yep, give it over to the AD carry. Cloud9 with a 3-for-0 to defend their base.
Good target change from Cloud9, Flowers. They tried it before, executing Operation Dive onto Lost, and then they had to deal with PowerOfEvil. This time around, they switch up the target. PowerOfEvil is #1 priority. They use everything this time around to execute him first, and the team fight goes much better. They're able to get the kills afterwards, sweeping through. We do have a very quick pause here, but this game is keeping up the excitement. TSM, even with Ocean Soul, even with Baron and everything like that, Cloud9 still able to win a team fight here, changing up their priority targets, and we'll have to wait to get a conclusion to this one.
Honestly, we've been seeing a really impressive showing out of TSM so far, particularly if you look at Spica, what he's been able to do on the Nidalee, having all that kill participation here for his team. He's been an incredible enabler of everyone. And I got to make sure I praise Huni, because I have found myself being very critical of Huni for a couple years now, as it seems like he's just making all these YOLO plays. He's doing this solo Q 1v9 stuff. He's teleporting into the middle of a fight as a Gnar with no rage bar, and he just goes pop like a balloon. But this game, this Gragas, these plays, it's old school Huni. It's like the man stepped into a time machine, and now he came back out as the Huni that was on SKT.
About time.
Really
here.
loving seeing this.
Yeah, about time. I think it's right when they need it. TSM might be akin to the dog meme that you've seen around with the GIF lying on the ground, all of a sudden standing up on all legs right now. The other conversation around this team obviously was so much pressure on SwordArt. They spent a bunch of money bringing over SwordArt, again investing in shot calling, investing in a former, very recent world finalist. And it's really looking like they have a sense of direction in-game. Very decisive movements here, constantly looking for these aggressive plays. SwordArt with the Galio, he's been able to disengage when needed on the Cloud9 charges and their dives, but also looking for those setups. With this twist at the end here, though, where Cloud9 get the victory in the team fight, excited to see if they can actually try and turn it around. Grievous wounds are mandatory here, as Ocean Soul already picked up by TSM. Plus, they already have plenty of healing and champions like Gragas, so we'll get back into it as quickly as possible.
I have been informed that it should only be a little bit longer, a few seconds till we get back into the game. And there it is. We are once again back on Summoner's Rift. Now, let's take a look at the damage that last fight did to TSM's lead. Here's another replay of how it went down. All
right, so teleport flanking back goes unnoticed by TSM. Really nice usage here. They immediately dive. Blaber plus Fudge plus Zven. Take down PowerOfEvil through the Galio ultimate. That only provides you with the magic damage shield. Then Lost is secondary. Blaber's on him right afterwards. The follow-up damage there from Perkz as well. They get the stun, and this time the dive goes so much better for Cloud9, fighting with better angles. Last time around, they had to dive so deep into the jungle, to take out Lost, that then they had to flash out afterwards. They were surrounded still and lost so much off of it. It might be too little too late, though, as Ocean Soul definitely is very powerful, and we do have 40 seconds on Elder Dragon coming up next, with TSM already gaining vision control over the area leading up to it. It's not as devastating as some other comps having that vision control, though, because they don't have the greatest pick potential here, and Cloud9 do also have Twisted Fate for a bit of a freebie on the reveal.
And I do like the fact that Perkz is ready to go here in this next fight. He has his stopwatch in inventory so he can go in, try to initiate things, and then not immediately die afterwards. He's got the rapid fire cannon to ensure maximum pick potential. You can see the gold card landing onto Huni there. Unfortunately, that's not really a target they can do a whole lot against. Cloud9 making sure they're not stuck in their own base, but now Perkz has to flash. Good cast from Huni over the wall, making sure that they immediately get the most valuable summoner spell out of the enemy mid laner. And they also corral Cloud9 towards the top half of mid lane, giving them priority to walk down here towards this bottom side river, take control over the Drake pit. Elder is live. Remember, this is not Baron. Elder doesn't have a damage debuff like Baron does, and he will just evaporate under a lot of focused fire. And it looks like that's the plan here from TSM. Perkz using the Twisted Fate ulti, already knows what's going on here. Elder Drake still with plenty of life left to go. Fudge showing up in the backside of the pit. Huni trying to charge in. Perkz half HP here on the Twisted Fate. Spears flying out. Dragon has recovered a little bit. TSM maintaining control over the area. They don't want to DPS this too hard. They want to make sure that they're just baiting Cloud9 in here, trying to get them to run up, commit to this. TSM does not want to be the burger in a Cloud9 and Dragon sandwich. That would be really bad.
Yep, sounds gross. TSM,
you never want to be the burger.
They do have confidence because they've got PowerOfEvil and Lost with both flashes available, and the cleanse is coming up for PowerOfEvil very soon too, so they're just delaying a little bit for that. Huni marks them, does not get the initiation with the ultimate here though.
Huni having the time to use another cask after initially going for the one that blue Perkz has flashed there in the mid lane. Drake is down to 5,000 HP. Perkz has the gold card locked and ready to go, throws it over the wall, finds SwordArt. Deadly Flourish shoots out, won't find much of anything. Vulcan going forward. PowerOfEvil going to be the one who's in some trouble now. Onslaught of Shadows coming in. Galio gets interrupted, won't be able to make a heroic entrance. Now SwordArt going to be tanking up here in the front line. Lost grabbing the kill on to Blaber, and TSM still 5 men strong. Zven in the back line, assassinating the enemy AD carry. Who says AD carry's got to play safe in the back line, baby? Fudge tanking up in a 1v4. Cloud9 will end up losing 3 of their players. Only Perkz and Zven still alive, traded away for Lost. It is a 2 versus 4 on the map, and TSM came to play some League of Legends today.
And if you win that fight, you win the Elder, you probably also win the Baron, Captain Flowers. That one is going to be the one that leaves a mark. And the flashes being available for both Lost and PowerOfEvil are the big difference makers this time around. PoE does not go down to the initial dive. Even though Vulcan flashes forward to get the point and click Nautilus stun ultimate down on him, they don't have anyone else in range because PoE can gain so much distance with flash and dash available on Lucian. So both big neutral objective buffs over to TSM, and they are looking like they want to start this one out with a bang. They started the lock-in tournament really, really slow here, but they're going to start this series very strong.
And here's another replay of how it went down when Vulcan just got bored of this dance.
Yeah, so he flashes in, gets the point and click onto PowerOfEvil. PoE is able to gain so much distance. You see every member of Cloud9 too far to follow up. Only Blaber could get in there. So TSM chased him off first, and they actually get the first kill of the team fight. Perkz is up on the top side, so Twisted Fate actually doesn't provide that extra zoning with the gold card as Cloud9 continue to dive forward. Zven ulting in with the killer instinct and then flashing out because he can't win the duel versus PoE heads up. Means that it's just too much separation here for Cloud9 in their dive. They weren't able to coordinate it like they did last time when the initiation was on their side of the map and they had the flank teleport from Fudge. TSM actually this time do a good job of kiting back down through the river to make C9 overextend in chasing through that dragon fight. They give them the punish. Now they've got Elder and Baron, and now the base is toast.
Yeah, this inhibitor turret that held the line last time with a Cloud9 team fight will not do the same here. Now that TSM has returned with that Elder buff, they should be able to just rotate right on over, take down the mid lane inhibitor as well. And then that just creates this situation that no one likes to be on the receiving end of, where you're stuck in your base and your opponents can just choke you out of everything, waiting for that last lane to push up so they can 3-inhib you and just slowly wring the life out of you as the game comes to an end. As Lost grabs a kill into Perkz, this is already looking like it's done, Kobe. Not even a fighting chance for Cloud9. TSM are a well-oiled machine. Fudge has to walk himself away. Zven going in the back line looking for PowerOfEvil, looking for Lost, but the boy ain't going to find nothing but death waiting for him back here. Fudge dead in the middle of 1v4. Blaber runs away, but they don't need to chase him, man. They got the Nexus eyes wide open in front of them. There it goes. TSM come into the quarterfinals swinging, and they go up 1-0 over Cloud9.
In quite the exciting opener, Captain Flowers. That was only game 1 of this series. I'm glad we are running a tournament here to start off the season. We get more of this already. We don't have to wait. We're going to get right back into it for game number 2. And honestly, the Gale Force being added to preseason, to this season of League of Legends, does make these more difficult style comps, that TSM are running, actually more viable. I mean, we saw in the last team fight where I mentioned he's got flash available for PoE. That plus a dash plus Gale Force, he just covered so much ground kiting out and avoiding this hard dive from C9 that I'm excited to see the adaptation heading into game number 2 for this series.
And remember, it wasn't just a hard stomp either. Cloud9 had advantages early on in the game. When we saw that gold graph, they were up almost 1.3K early on, but it